All right, welcome to this video where we're talking about converting the Biocube 32 or 29 into a lighting system using AI blades. So this is my SPS dominant Biocube 29, although it has a more modern hood, and we'll go over that in a minute. So I'll go over here for a second. The Biocube hood has an integrated light fixture. These are added later. The Biocube stock light is strong enough to support a number of types of coral and is generally stronger than most people think. But for the rest of this video, we're going to be talking about this tank and how we can retrofit while using the lid. A lot of people take the lid off. I strongly prefer to keep it for a number of reasons I'll talk about in a minute. Here's what the Biocube 32 or 29 hood looks like. The first thing you have to do is take out all of the guts of the lighting system that is stock. There is, in that pocket there, a couple of screws that hold in a circuit board and a couple of fans. And then a panel of LED lights that spreads across the whole thing. And then a cover that sits like this. It takes about 10 screws to take it off. Once you do that, you generate a tremendous amount of space underneath the hood. Probably 3 inches of space with a couple of indentations that stick out. I'll also point out while we have this open that these vents are open to the outside world. Here as well, we'll go over in a minute, the fans that I've been experimenting with and trying. So now the main event are AI blades. On this tank, there are 2 AI blade Coral Grow. AI blade come in 3 types. There's a Coral Grow, a Coral Glow, and then a Refugium light or a freshwater light. I don't think you really want to worry about those. But their lights are quite good. Here's what they look like underneath. If I pointed right at the screen, I don't think you'd like that very much. But they sit on these tank rests, as you see, just above the water. And so they're quite close to the water and get a lot of great light down on the corals. I have 2 of them on here. I think you could probably get away with just 1 if you had an LPS tank. But for me, I wanted 2 things. I wanted to be able to have some light spread back. You can see I have some corals along the back wall, as well as some large staghorn corals here in the back. Meanwhile, in the front, I have a clam, some anacropora, and some relatively high-end acropora that I want to be able to cover in the front. Everything is growing really well. Again, I'll have the PAR video in here soon. The AI app is quite good, and you can edit a number of things. This is right now on feed mode, which has put on a little bit more white spectrum and turned down my pump. But the AI blades so far have been able to support some really light demanding corals, not to mention the clam, but the PC Rainbow, you can see back there, Dragon Slayer, Acro, a few others, a couple of Millipora that are quite happy. So I will give you the PAR meters shortly once we get them. Now, the only drawback that I saw with this, there's 2, which we'll show now, both with the lid closed, is it doesn't have a perfect seal around the tank, right? It has a little bit of a gap. If you move things around and really wiggle it, you can get it a little bit closer. Not a huge deal for me. Keeps the cover on the tank for noise purposes and for light bleed So for me, this is behind my workstation, so I don't want it, um, you know, coloring the background of where I'm working bright blue.
The
It
only
also
thing is
keeps,
it might
obviously,
let
fish
out a
from
little
jumping
bit
in.
of evaporation. One thing I've always liked about Biocube is how it really kept in a lot of moisture and kept evaporation down.
The other thing that we have to worry about is heat, and the lights, throw out a good amount of heat. You can always touch them, no big deal. But it is something that builds up in there. And according to my Inkbird, which we can see it in there she is. Yeah. During the day, when this is on, you can sometimes get up to 81, 82 degrees. And I was able to manage that for the first couple of days by leaving the hood open or leaving the feeding door open. And, that was fine. And then I experimented with a number of fans. The first was actually the fan that I extracted from the underside housing. It had been underneath. I tried to put it up here. Um, that was not terribly useful. I actually mounted it backwards, so it was pushing air out. Not really what you're looking for. Just way too small.
Obviously, the fans were intended to keep the LED light fixture cool, not the tank cool. So I had to keep looking.
So instead, I searched around on Amazon and picked up this little beast of a fan. Um, it blows a good amount, right? This is pushing a lot of air into the tank. I can feel it coming out of these vents right here, actually blowing air out. I'm considering putting a second one here. I don't know if I will. Right now, it's handling it perfectly fine. That has some nice rubber feet on it. It's very quiet, and I put a single zip tie right there so that when I open it, it stays in place ish. I'll have to manually move it a little bit, but whatever, it won't fall off. So this appears to be keeping the tank temperature during the day down to about 80 and a half, something like that. And right now I'm heating my house, so it's working in the right direction. And I'll say down here, got to remind you that the Inkbird has two plugs on it. One of them operates the heater, and one of them operates a chiller. And of course, in this tank, no chiller. What we do have is that fan. This, by the way, $10, $12, nice and cheap. Plugs in via USB as well.
Here's a quick look at the AI app where you can control the light fixtures. You can see that my lights start to turn on right around 1 p.m. and ramp up quickly. They're in about 65 to 70% full strength for about 5 hours, at which point the white light fades out and royal and blue light continue. And that continues on until about 1:15 in the morning when it pretty quickly fades out. You can adjust any of these specific times and have it change any of the three channels, the royal, the blue, and white to wherever you need. So here's an example of where you can change that.
I really like this dashboard where you can push a couple of buttons and take quick action. You can set up a feed mode so that the flow goes down and the lights turn onto a white. You can turn all lights on and off. Right here is a demo mode where you can look and show temporarily what various color combinations look like in the tank. You could have all white, for example, to take a picture or see what all blue looked like. I also appreciate the integration with the AI Nero 3 pump, and right here I can control the function of that pump in a separate button. 12-inch AI Coral Grow lights are retailing at about $160. Sometimes you can get a little bit of a sale on that. They're always the same price at an LFS, Amazon, or BRS, always the same. Overall, they're a really great value with a lot of function, and they work in the Biocube, which is a great feature. If you enjoyed this video or found value from it, please consider a like and subscribe to the channel. It means a great deal for those of us who have small YouTube
Given
channels.
that,
If you have
please keep an eye
enjoyed the
out for
video,
our next
please
video,
consider
which will
a
be
like and
about the
subscribe.
par levels in
I
this
will be
tank and what we're
producing
getting out
that
of those AI
par
lights.
video here in the next couple
Thanks for
weeks,
watching.
and you can be alerted.